Welcome back to It Tastes Like Burning This, Matt.
This is Jesse.
And we're at our end of the year, not New Year's bash, but end of the year.
Shots fired. Now, I don't know what that was, but that was a cannon?
That
Fireworks.
I wonder if that came across. It was just far. That was huge, whatever that was.
Yeah. Transformer. I don't know what that was.
Well, so you're joining us for the first time as the Nicaraguans and Iranians are attacking the state of Texas in their recreation of Red Dawn.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Something blew up in the background out there. Hopefully it wasn't nothing major.
quick check the scotch.
Yeah. Nope. Scotch is good.
It's all fine.
Yep. So I am gonna check the old CAD.
Well, I don't think they would have called that fast.
Well, you never know.
Well, while you're doing that, I guess I'll do the old preventive.
Yeah, let's give the intro.
and
Yeah.
We'll get everything lined up. So, if you're ever interested in what actually exploded, or if the blast wave is yet to hit us, you'll know to mark this date and time, and there'll be no one to post this podcast, so that would be a problem. Moving past that discretion, if you ever feel like asking us what exploded, you can find us on ittasteslikeburningcast at gmail.com. Theoretically, this podcast will be posted on YouTube, and search for the It Tastes Like Burning Cast on YouTube. You can always give us support on Patreon, and the biggest way is like, click, and subscribe is one of the easiest ways to really benefit us.
Yeah. Yeah. And we're on the X or Twitter or whatever it is now.
It's X.
X. And we're also on the Book of Faces. But yeah.
But not my book.
But not the lizard. Yeah, and not the MySpace. We're not on that anymore. I'd love to be on that. We could have songs, but so it's fireworks. It's got to be fireworks.
Fireworks, or it's a huge train derailment.
Yeah. Yeah, it's got to be fireworks.
And just so everyone know, I resigned 15 minutes ago as chief.
If it's a train derailment?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. So we did a little traveling yesterday.
Yes, we did.
Yeah, we went down, saw Chief Stephen down in Robinson. Had a good visit and just hang out and catching up, and he brought an audience for us. It was interesting. We had board members and division chiefs, and we had folks. It was great.
Yeah, and it was. It's it's the more I talk about Granbury to the other organizations and other people, the one thing that I do realize is, for lack of better words, I feel like that we're selling smoke sometimes.
Yeah, but I mean they've got that can of the magic smoke down there. They're doing stuff, man. We toured their new training field, which was awesome. Like,
Yeah,
I would
was in
love,
Vegas.
I
want
would
that.
love to have that just that container prop that wasn't a live fire prop. It was a artificial smoke prop, but it was awesome. It had a lot of cool stuff. I'd love to have that.
Yeah,
Like,
and
I took
the guy that built it, my hat's off to you,
Yeah.
because you really did put like a lot of thought into building some basic fundamental skill stuff that's kind of important.
Yeah, I took a lot of pictures. Like,
Did you?
yeah, there's definitely there's some of the smaller things that I can see us implementing immediately, and then there's some of those things that I think we should be looking at as more of a long-term project. Even the
Well, it's okay. I captured everything with my photosynthesis mind.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it will be fine.
Yeah. There was a lot of good stuff. I mean, heck, even the simplest things is the little rebar cutting prop. I mean, there is no reason why we shouldn't have a couple of those now. Just let's cut the podcast and go weld right now.
Technically, we have that though.
Yeah, but it's not as cool as theirs. Theirs was cooler.
Just because our rebar sticks out of a 4x4 and is wiggly.
And it's in a guy's forehead, but
Right.
it's irrelevant. Irrelevant. But
Team building.
yeah. But cool stuff. They're doing cool stuff. They're working on that and many other projects and
Well, the other really refreshing thing about being able to talk to a really almost said advanced, and I guess that's true. The nice thing about our conversation that we had with them was not, oh my God, everything's on fire and my cat's on fire and it's running around catching everything else on fire. It was really theoretical witchcrafting on the volunteer side of saying, we want to try something crazy.
yeah.
What do you guys think?
Yeah, and it was a lot of looking to the future, and that's kind of what Matt and I talked about as being kind of the goal for this episode was talk about plans in the future, and they have plans, and it's like it's on the whiteboard in the chief's office. Like once it's oh my God, that was loud. Scotch is noisy.
Yeah, that was fireworks.
Yeah, but you know it's on the whiteboard. It's there for everybody to know what the plan is. It's a goal that they're working on, and there was a list of projects, and then the training field was at the top, and it had like a list of punch stuff for kind of the phase one finish up of what they had going out there, and they have plans for propane props, and they've got already have that in the works, and that's kind of the phase two or the end of phase
I
one.
like their fire training field because it simulates being fired at.
Yep.
Literally.
It's next door to a gun range, but that's just the cops. They usually hit who they're shooting at.
Mm-hmm.
Usually. But I would bet they don't have very many joint training days. I bet it's
Well, where the hell's the
alternating.
fun in that?
Well, we can do that. We can do that.
We
I mean,
do that.
I
They use our burn facility and we run in there and light fires and their blank rounds start going off.
I found a CA grenade in there that wasn't completely done one day.
Please tell me you put that in the haystack.
I gave it to the fire marshal. Said, please give this back to him. Hopefully, it doesn't go off while you're holding it.
I hope he kept it in the cab of his truck.
He did. It was a month before he got by there and gave it back to him.
Nice.
Yeah.
At least it was stable.
Yeah.
Kudos to that CA manufacturer.
Yeah. Yeah. I guess it had 3 little deals and 2 of the 3 went off. So, ticking time bomb.
Just shake it.
Yeah. Hit it with a hammer, at least. But yeah, no, you would think they would just use smoke or something. Or something inert for training purposes, not put pepper spray in our building that we have to go into.
Well, everyone does have rookies.
So but that was one of the cool things that I liked about their facility. They had burning over in this building, and then they had non-burning, but still hands-on skill stuff in this other building. So you could conceivably have 2 different things going on at the same time in 2 different buildings and not, they had forced entry, they had stuff happening over here that it was neat that kind of the way they had it set up, they could maximize and split into groups and do multiple things at a time.
Yeah, well, and the particular thing I like about their building is their funding source. I would have never have thought about using that particular funding source.
Over the course of multiple years.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think that's something we can pull together literally overnight
Yeah.
because we are very familiar with that funding source.
And I think we already have the thing in, and I was thinking about doing a new door, but I I literally think we start with some containers and start working on something like what they have over on the
Right.
side.
But we're not going to let them show us up. It's going to be 5 times bigger.
and we'll turn them on the end.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah,
We, we will force vertical VEIS tactical training.
yeah, and maybe put one underground and have like a basement.
That'd be terrible, but yes, for the
Sounds
one
awesome.
one basement in our entire county.
Yeah, sounds awesome. That's even more reason to train on it. There's only one of
Yes.
them.
No, the thing I really like about their burn house is that it's just a whole bunch of connexes. They did a lot of personalized work themselves to save money so that they get the most bang for their buck. Um, Quick synopsis: they have an SCBA maze, several different rooms to do like realistic VEIS out of. So, first floor, second floor. They have vertical ventilation, forcible entry, window forcible entry.
They had some salvage and overhauls,
Yeah,
ceiling stuff and wall breaching stuff, and
a garage door project, a we'll call it security bar project in the rebar. Um, the building was they built a very smart and neat smoke system, like they were using smoke generators to smoke out the building. Um,
but they piped it everywhere.
right,
Yeah, it was piped, and you could literally choose where you wanted it to go, and so the smoke generator's in a safe place. It's not getting knocked over. It's not getting abused. Like I I thought it was fantastic.
yeah, no. Kudos to them. Uh Here we are, schmuck volunteer training for the way that you should train so that you can actually focus on the things that are actually legitimately important to the organization, but also the community. Salvage and overhaul. One of the most important things that an organization can do. There's houses that I've been to where the house was a complete loss, but we did smart salvage and overhaul, and the homeowner thanked us after their entire house burned down.
Right. Yeah, because you got something that was of value to them, right? It it's important, and segueing off of that into our future plans, and we've got projects going on our training facility right now. We're working towards some improvements and some repairs, mostly repairs at the current time, but we've got some improvement projects going on out there. We're hopefully getting a new ceiling, new roof. That's kind of important,
Yeah.
right? And then we're getting a SCBA fill station and compressor and cascade out there. That's kind of important. Get that stuff out there where it can be used and have it in a better spot, right?
Right.
And save some wear and tear on our air truck from having to go out there and run for hours and days at a time, uh, and save fuel. I mean,
Well, hell, the wear and tear on the light and air truck. So that truck was purchased in,
17,
let's call it 17, and it was $375,000.
and now it's close to a million.
Yeah, Freightliner chassis, 4 doors, 3 SCBA packs, gigantic generator, 40 kW generator, 2 SCBA refilling stations, 4 storage bottles, and we have the Scott 5500 psi bottles. If you're thinking about doing that, don't call me. Like, I'll talk you out of it. Don't do that. It's nothing against Scott. I love Scott air packs, but wrong system. I
Yeah,
don't even think they're making it anymore.
no, they still make it. It's just it was plagued with little issues,
Yeah.
right? It they took something that was basically made to work at 4500 psi and adapted it to run at 5500, and it was just pushing the limits of what
Well, here's what happened.
the O-rings were bad.
So Scott, I'm going to sound like a arrogant ass here. I always try and be as proactive as possible. The problem is that when you're being proactive to a government entity, it always bites you in the ass. So Scott was being proactive on the NFPA requirement of having 33% reserve. So their idea was to go to 5,500 psi, but in the small 30-minute bottles. Okay. And the difference between a big 4,500 psi bottle that goes to 33 reserve, 33% reserve, and a Scott 50 500 psa bottle and the 33% reserve is just size. So they overcompensated by stuffing more crap into the sack. So they just put more PSI in a smaller bottle. The issue is that turns out 5,500 PSI is actually a crap load of pressure, and it's really hard on the hardware. That was their fault. They were trying to be as proactive and ergonomic as possible. And in this particular case, it didn't work.
Yeah. And I think we were so early in that there's
We
been some refinements and there's some
we were
improvement.
the largest 5,500 PSI bottle purchase in the US until Denver, Colorado converted.
And I think that maybe Frisco also went that way.
But they were a year after Denver.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a lot of departments going that way now, but it's interesting. But you also see a lot of departments moving back to MSA because MSA's got some cool little bells and whistles, right? They've got the little thermal imager in the dongle there. I don't know what else you'd call it, but where your gauge and stuff is. They got the tick built into the pack, and it's not exceedingly expensive, and it's a cool upgrade, right? They all have their own little niche thing, and unfortunately for everybody, they figure out this little niche thing and they patent it and they get to have it for 20 years and no one else gets to do it. So I will tell you that new Scott snap-in bottle thing, terrible idea. Don't do that.
Yeah, I mean, at face value makes a ton of sense. Um, it's one of the few things we did right in our conversion. We saw it, we instantly liked it, and then realized like, what happens if that gets dirty?
Yeah.
It's a disaster. Don't do it.
Yeah. Yeah. Terrible, terrible thing at face value. If you never take the bottle off the pack and you transfill them, yeah, maybe, but you're you're gonna do a hot swap on a bottle and crap's gonna flow down in there. It's
But if you're
and then you're
if you're
relying
never
on
taking the bottle off the pack, you're completely defeating the purpose of having the quick connect.
right. And and you're relying on an O-ring that's already doing double duty right there because that's the seal. In the at least the threaded on connection, you got threads there and you've got a Teflon or some form of gasketing that's more than just one little solitary O-ring holding that together. Yeah, it's
Well, we'll just guarantee that no one's ever sponsored this podcast by saying that you're recreating the Ocean Gate disaster while inside a burning room.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Thank you, Scott.
Yeah,
We do love your products. We just like it our way, right?
yeah,
But
just
that's the beauty of it. Everybody can kind of pick and choose what's right for them, and that's what's right for us. And we're too deep into it now to change
yeah. No, it should. It's too expensive. Christ, it'd be. I don't know.
a lot. Let's just say a lot. I mean,
What's 25 times 6 plus all the spare bottles?
yeah, a lot.
Yeah, it's a $2.5 million upgrade.
Yeah,
No,
yeah,
we're in like Flynn.
yeah,
Scott, we love you and we legitimately love you, but we're not doing the quick connect crap.
Yeah, we'll continue on with the road we're on. But so what else are we looking at for the next year? I know we've got tons of stuff on the horizon, and I think there's some stuff on the horizon for not just the department, but for the podcast, right?
Oh hell, you threw a curveball in there with adding the
Yeah, we'll
podcast.
start with the department, and then we'll go on to the podcast.
I'll leave the podcast to you because I'm kind of curious where you're going. I think I know, but I'm going to leave that to you. So we got a Hail Mary out there with an AFG grant. Mea Copa, Godspeed on that.
Yeah.
That actually makes my life a lot easier if we qualify for it. Technically, we're looking at a new station, hopefully, maybe partner in a second station. And I I don't know what's happening with this third stations that's not ours. At the end of the day, maybe a third station. I don't know. Like, I want the other department to get that, but if there's low hanging fruit out there, don't get me wrong, it's like a Hunger Games scenario. Um, don't don't just run straight to the Corpacana because there's landmines and children with bows and arrows out there. Um, but so one station for sure, possibly two, maybe a third. And then
Well,
there's
I would go maybe a station, possibly a second, and then there's a Hail Mary for a third. Because I'm not 100% convinced that that first one's even going to happen. Like I'm,
yeah, no. I'd if I was betting, I'd say it's like being in Las Vegas and hitting on 21.
yeah, it's not. I I was 6 months ago. I was a lot more sure of it. Now I'm not. It's just plagued with challenges, just like anything else in building anything in government. You know, there's too
Well,
many people involved. It's
right.
too
It's
complicated. It's
politics, it's
politics.
dogma, it's personalities, and quite frankly, and
We
I
have
mean,
so little control over it that it's
yeah, it's so far out of our pay grade. Like literally, we
all we can do is say, "Yay, we want to be supportive of it," and
right.
then and maybe talk about it and help in a political aspect for it. But our hands are tied on any other part of it.
There's so many things that have to happen before. Oh, what's the
Not to mention we're in a building moratorium, and granted, they surely for public safety they would excuse that from the moratorium, but should they? That's a good question, right?
well, I would argue yes. To me, that's kind of a no brainer.
But I could argue the other way. I will argue yes, but I could argue the other way. How can you say yours is more important than my livelihood and my business that I want to build a new business with, right? It's that's tough.
To make an appropriate analogy, we're like Ralph on the school bus in The Simpsons, where we say, I'm in danger.
Mhm.
That
No,
that's
I get it, and
that's all
it's
there is.
easy enough to sell. It's
And,
not a
and
challenge there.
whether it's one or three stations, the problem is that all three departments are in the same position. The
Yeah.
difference is that the other two departments are going to look at us for the money aspect, and I'm telling you, it's not there.
No, it's not. We we did a pre-construct on a quick attack here
Yeah, I
the
was
other
gonna
day.
say we got three apparatus in the pike. Don't worry if you got trucks ordered, just sleep with the pistol under the pillow because that's asinine.
See, we were a year from order date for a pre-construct, and we're a year from pre-construct to possibly seeing like a picture of it in construction
It kind of made me mad because we broke our neck
to
to
go to that
to
pre-construct.
go to that pre-construction meeting to find out that it's still 12 to 14 months out.
Yeah.
And it's like, God, I don't have positive things to say.
Yeah.
Like, are you kidding me?
And we have another one in probably another 2 months, 3 months.
And another one.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sorry. Why don't we meet in August and cover all three?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I, I, whatever. I'm a huge fanboy for this particular company. We're avoiding saying them. I love them to death. I love the service they provide, and I love their apparatus. But it pissed me off on this particular scenario where it's like we're literally I canceled business to be able to go to this meeting because it's 14 months out.
Yeah.
And I don't know what the other people, and I know one of our other people that was supposed to go down on this trip pulled out because he was busy.
Yeah. And, and the other crazy part is like the chassis sitting there, right? That chassis chewing up its chassis warranty,
Right.
basically. I mean, not realistically, but it's it's getting older as it's sitting there, right? And it's not it's not conducive for the future of fire truck sales.
No,
It's really not. Like I I realize that they're dealing with backlogs and the chaos of the situation caused several cities to over purchase, which made it worse, which compounded it and made it worse. But man, they have got to step up production, create another facility, do something to bridge the gap, subcontract some parts of it out to
yeah,
speed it up, whatever. Like I get it. And I'm in business, and let me tell you, it's a terrible time to be in business in the United States and Texas specifically, but you got to figure it out cuz you can't just roll on that.
don't worry. I got it.
You got it? You're playing like Operation with a microphone.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's the wishbone.
It's all right. The whiskey and vodka's in the way. I'll figure it out.
Yeah, that's the wishbone. But it's crazy that it's just so long. I mean, 2 years to get a truck that's based off of a Ford chassis.
With a rescue body.
Yeah.
Like there's no customization to this.
I mean, we're picking some lights and a paint color, and I that's it. Like that's legitimately a console. We picked out a console.
Which we probably need to reevaluate.
Yeah, oh that yeah, no. Sullivan Stevens console was awesome. I liked it, but that's not the one that they do.
Yeah.
It is what it is. I mean, they do that other one. I liked his. It was cool. It was really cool.
We had to save 15 grand and yank that console out and
Just build our own.
yeah, build our own.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, there's something too about just getting it done. Just get it done. Let it be done. That's kind of like the training field project. Just get it done. I don't care. I don't care who does it. I don't care how you do it as long as the end product gets me what I want and I can go back to training in our training building. I don't care. I truly don't care. And I think that's kind of we we dove into that project and that project went sideways and crossways and three ways. Just because you're dealing with the politics of it and government entities and all that. But uh I don't
There's not
the bottom
enough.
line is we don't care. Just get it done.
There's not enough whiskey in Ireland.
For me to care about that. I can't.
I found a solution. I had the solution, but someone had to go over there and stick their finger in it. And it's like, yes, that is satisfying.
Yeah, it
And
does.
and it's just like, Jesus,
But
please.
at the end
Like
of
everyone you just brought in, it's the classic. it's my circus, but those aren't my monkeys.
Yeah.
Please, for the love of God, get your monkeys off of this main ring. Like, or I'm gonna pull out the shotgun.
Yeah.
Get them out of here.
And ultimately, I mean, we don't care. Don't care. Just get it done. Don't care how you do
We
it
don't have the time
to
to
care.
care.
Doesn't matter.
Okay, my carrying got when I got it to the first finish
The
line.
the the reason why we're not hands-on doing this project as a group of volunteers to make it, our project and save everybody money and do all that stuff is because we don't have time and we don't want to be that hands-on with it. We want it done and there for us to use. And it's weird. We're going to see that come forward too in the future when next time we look at brush trucks, right? Because
Yeah, no, there's
there's that, right? We're teetering on a 20 plus year old.
yeah.
Well,
It
actually, it's 25-year-old brush truck
you
sitting
want to
there.
talk about the Battle of Thermopylae coming up?
Yeah.
Just Jesus.
And there's some grants in, and we're into the we're into the final stretch on some grant prospects for some brush trucks. And when it comes down to the end, and I'm like, yeah, we need to just farm the whole thing out because what is our time best spent doing? Building a brush truck or running calls? And I'm all for the project. I think the project's a good team building exercise, but it is and it isn't, right?
Well, it's a good team building exercise to a certain point, assuming that the team has any skills, abilities, or the tools to actually do the project.
Or is
And the
not busy running 2,000 calls a year.
right. And there's one individual that has all of it and will hoard it. No. I'm
Yeah.
sorry. And not to mention that this one individual's actually really, really important.
And good at, yeah, a lot of other things that
Right.
shouldn't be that.
Even though that they really enjoy this. And it's like we're like the little Kung Fu Panda Woo Saw moment when they have the opportunity to build a truck. Don't care. Like, I'm sorry, I'm gonna make you sad and I'm gonna make you real angry. Damn it, you're too busy. No, this is going to someone else and just get bent.
Yeah, and I think when you get to that point, just learning what we've learned with this 2-year process on this other truck, like that's the determining factor. It doesn't matter who they are. It's the timeline.
Period.
Period. Like
Period.
it doesn't matter if they're great guys over here. If they're a 3-year timeline, I'm sorry. Like you could be the greatest guys in the world and be half the price of anybody else. 3-year timeline is not the answer. Like it just doesn't work. It doesn't work in the grand scheme of things.
No.
Not on something simple like a ladder truck. Yeah, wait your time. Get the thing that's the right thing. Like wait the time. A brush truck? No. No, there's guys out there building those under shade trees. Like
Right.
just find the one that can do the work, that has a portfolio of quality work and go with the quickest time frame.
Yeah, I just Jesus.
There
That's the if there is two we have two okay. The list just increased from 2 to 5. But if we have two challenges going forward, we're a big organization. We don't have the time of wasting on the debate.
no. No.
Okay. And on top of that, the people below us are busy. They don't have the time to sink into building another truck. Like, I need you very specifically to spend the time on the position that we're about to create for you.
Well, and
and utilize. It's the classic movie Moneyball, okay, where the GM's talking to like the old baseball player. We need to understand what our agreement is here. I need to squeeze the last ounce of what you have to offer this organization out of you. And on the flip side, you want to be able to prove how star spangled awesome you are.
yeah,
We can make this happen, but it's not time spent building a truck.
no, spend the time writing the spec.
Right. The spec, the time building the membership, the time training the membership, the time building the orders and processes that we have to have for an organization our size going forward.
No,
It's not under a helmet welding.
no, no, absolutely. It's gonna make him sad, but
Oh,
he'll be
he's going
fine.
to be furious, but the second that we actually give him the ability to write the spec, and then it's on us to go back and tell him like, you need to understand, if to whoever makes this, if you cut a single corner, I'm going to make you choke on it.
Yeah,
You will follow this to the exact, and I mean exact, to the period spec. Okay. Because if you don't, you're going to hate me.
yeah, yeah. No, it's facts, just facts. What else is in the pike? I know there's a lot of stuff. Like,
Mitch in my ear, keep talking.
oh yeah, I know. How do you get your foot up there? Are you Labrador?
Yeah.
No, Saint Bernard.
Yeah.
Definitely Saint Bernard.
Potbelly pig.
But I, I mean, there's so much. Like we've got this lofty idea to, and Matt touched on it a while ago, that we need to improve processes and organizational
Yeah.
stuff. Like that's a huge thing that we started on it this last year and we touched on it, but we gave the project to a few. This next year, the project's going to be to a many.
Right.
Yeah, it's going to be to the extreme. We're gonna work on these processes, and it's not the on-scene processes. It's not that. It's the back end stuff, the purchasing, the uh, inspections, the gear, the all the things that happen outside of actually fighting a fire, right? That the organization has to have just running like clockwork so that it eliminate. You should just go over there with that.
That's better because there's 12 bottles to my right.
Yeah. Put that on the left. To the left, to the left. But yeah, we've got to streamline some of this stuff to where we've got to use automation, we've got to use technology, we've got to make things work to our advantage. Uh, Even to the extent we've talked to a software developer for basically a GVFD app, right? And that project's a little stale, and it's time to kick it in the old ass crack and see if we can get that back rolling again and get that developer in to give a presentation on what he came up with, and hash out what else we would want and what else we need to do, because that could be all encompassing. That could have all these other features with purchasing and requisitions and stuff built into it to where it's just basically a one-stop shop for our organization. And I can't imagine that if we did the alpha and the beta on this, and we get it to function and we get it to work for what we need, that there's not others that need the same thing.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Jesus, you actually covered like a whole podcast all by itself in your last 2 minutes.
Blurb.
So he here's our challenge going forward in the future. I think I'm starting to realize that we're a 101 in the United States. And that in a country of 350 million people, an organization of 100 people is breaking trail and going in a different way with being volunteer. And I don't think people really understand the significance of that statement. We, we literally don't compensate our members. I'm not paid. Jesse's not paid. We're an ISO 2 organization, okay, that responds by a pager. And if you don't know what ISO 2 is, just look at your local communities and see what their ISO rating is and understand the significance of what we are. We're by ourselves, okay? And we're doing something so non standard and so non traditional and so non typical. I don't know how long it'll last. I don't.
You know,
I'd be a fool to sit there and try and tell you,
yeah,
but I can tell you this.
you can't prophesize on it, but you can do everything you can to extend that as long as possible.
Right. And I can tell you this. I have 4 trucks ordered, 1 delivered. I'm working on a new station to give us 4 stations. Theoretically, working with another department for a 5th station. We certify and train to a complete state recognized level. The politics involved with all of it is incredible and staggering. Meanwhile, we have an entire community, state, and country that keeps telling us to just roll over and die. And I have new stations, new trucks, trying to figure out how to increase a pension, all while soothsaying a membership, trying to take a membership from 100 to higher, 150, 200, because I know that's what's needed. Meanwhile, I'm in a county with a total of 9 departments, including myself. And I have to navigate, Jesse does too, all of that. And at the end of the day, no one understands a single thing that we actually do or how we do it.
Right. And even if we try to explain it, they don't understand it.
No.
And, it's hard. I will tell you one of the single hardest things I deal with just personally in my mind is when you've got these guys that say, "We want help. Come help me." And then you give them answers and they say, "Oh, we can't do that."
Yeah, right.
And I just I used to try to figure out how to make them understand. I'm telling you right now, if you come to us and you say, "We want help," and then I give you answers and you say, "I can't do that," conversation's done. It's done. I'm not going to spend my time, which is super valuable. It's the single most valuable commodity I have. I'm not going to spend my time trying to convince you to do the right thing. Do it or not. I don't care. It's up to
Right.
you.
It's just, it's too hard.
Well,
I mean,
they're blowing it up with the
yeah.
sirens out there.
While you look that up, I'll try and ramble and randomize some crap to say. There's
That's Popo.
there's just a total point at where you either understand that it's about training and you build your organization off of training. And when you've done that, then you go for the big ticket items. the apparatus, the stations, tools, equipment. The kicker in this is understanding which battles to fight, which battles to abandon, and when to dig in.
Yeah.
It's not up for debate. It's not up for discussion. Whoever you're against, they either realize that they're going to side with you, or the organization fundamentally changes or folds. Here's the irony in it. In all the discussions that I've had, it always boils down to we don't have enough volunteers. We need more. We're looking at staffing. I'm sorry. How do you argue that two people showing up to your structure fire is a benefit? Because it's not.
Yeah.
And I don't.
Yeah. Minimal staffing, in its essence, creates maximum staffing. Period.
Right. And when you sit there, and I've had this discussion where people are telling me that they show up on scene, put the truck in park, throw it in pump gear, and pull a line with two damn people going interior, and that's all that the total people on scene, and that you think that you're a service to your community. You're not. Now, volunteer, I would argue, takes time, but that's a solvable problem. If you are a career department or ESD or compensated volunteer with that too, I don't see how you're winning.
Yeah.
You were literally failing your community. And I'm sorry. I'm putting 16 on a scene with volunteer.
And and what's stupid about it? It's 16 plus the automatic, plus the standby,
Right.
plus the extras, plus uh, it's 16 on apparatus on the scene.
Right.
There's 45, 50 people showing up to these calls. It's insane. It's the most ludicrous,
And I can tell
insane
you,
thing that I've ever seen in my life, coming from poor, broke, dysfunctional volunteer, which is where I came from. Combination. It is the most ludicrous thing I've ever seen. And it's taken me a lot to adjust to understanding how to even, I'm so used to 4 people doing everything.
and and I'm telling you, when I joined this organization, we had fires like that where there'd be 4, 5, 6. And I'm talking working structure fires.
Yeah.
And you do not 3, not 4, 6, 7 bottles.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. I know that. I'm short and fat. That was terrible.
It was hard.
It was the determining factor of why I decided that this has to change.
Yeah. Well, and I'm so far removed from actually being the person in the bottle doing the deal because I spent so many years running the call. But I'd have to tell guys, like, you're on your 5th one, you've got to take a break. You have to. Somebody else can do that. Like, we'll take the engineer and he can put a pack on, and you can go be the engineer for 15, 20, 30 minutes and take a break. And it's nuts how that, I can't explain it. I can't explain to you how much different that is from the norm and what I know, right?
He, but again, it's not just us. There's other departments that have made
Oh
that
my God.
quantitative
Well,
leap.
you and I went to go so you could measure some folks for some gear, and it, it was a bad wreck, right? They had a call. It was a bad wreck. There was 25 or 30 people at that
Right.
station for that wreck that was one of hundreds that they have on that same road every single day of the year. Like, it wasn't so abnormal. It wasn't like the special call. It was just a run of the mill call. And there was dozens of people. There was people standing by, there was people at the station, there was people on the call, there was people coming in. Like, there was people, and it was just the schmuck volunteer fire department
Right.
that we were at, right? It's nothing special.
And we're one county in Texas. Okay. And here's the kicker. In our county, I would argue there's three really strong departments. Our neighbor to the east, our neighbor to the west, and then on top of that, I would argue there's three more departments that are chock full of possibility. They're all three of them are south of us. Okay. And they they're on the verge. One of the departments has a newly elected assistant chief. Jesus, run like the fat kid in the chocolate factory. Don't hold back. Go as hard as you can. The other department on the east side of the lake, God damn it. Stop being so tentative. Do it. Push hard. And we're one county.
Yeah,
Here's the commonality between the all the departments. Training.
yeah.
It's
The
training.
the ones that are training are winning. And it's just this, like, you can look at it. You can see who's training, and you can know who's training, and you can know who's successful. It's a direct correlation. There's no gray area to it. And you can say, well, they don't show up. Well, if you provide good training, they'll show up.
Right.
Like, it's actually a problem
And
for
then
us.
let's go to the chief level of this. Do you know how much easier it makes your argument when you're talking to a city or a county and you say, damn it, I have all of these people that are trained, but the level of equipment they have is so subpar and so below the standard. You're killing me. You will kill these people. Give me shekels and I'll give you the kingdom.
Yeah. Well, and it's so stupid because the single most expensive part of it's the labor, and we're making the labor free.
Right.
Like, it's insanely, like, you still need all that other stuff. Regardless, the labor is the most expensive part. Put it in
Right.
perspective.
Yeah. Ooh, you have $1 million engine. It's still a 10-year payment, 100,000 a year. One employee in my area is 127,000 per year.
Yeah.
So over the course of that, you're saving 30 grand per year, 27,000 per year. 10 years, 270,000. Okay. That 270,000 can be immediately transplanted either into tools, equipment, or apparatus
Or training.
or training.
Or training.
It's your job to make the argument. Figure out how to make the argument. It always drives me nuts. It's incredible how many chiefs,
Well,
particularly the volunteer that I run into, that say, well, I'm chief, but I won't do the politics. And I always ask them, how the hell did you become chief?
politics, right? Even when I was out west, and it was definitely tougher. Lot less money to be had, right? we still figured out ways to make it happen.
Right.
Like I made sure that we were maximizing grants. We were maximizing stuff. I still did the politics. I showed up for the budget hearings. I did all the things that had to be done. Like those council members are not going to look at you in that budget hearing and say, "Yeah, no, we're not giving you any money." They're not.
No.
They can't do it. Like they'll be gone. Like that's a death sentence for their political careers that they treasure. They treasure that. They can't tell you no.
Quick side note, and I want to add this. In the event you get one of your political critters to bite, okay, and they benefit you, don't forget to give them their opportunity for their photo. Don't forget the opportunity to give them credit. Don't forget the opportunity to actually shower praise and thanks to them. Like,
They
that
earned
is
it.
literally our system.
They earned it.
Stop being an ass and give them the credit they're due. I understand if you may not want to endorse political critters, but when they benefit you, benefit them. That's why they did it. That's our system. Sorry, get over it. Get bent. I don't care what you think about that. Show up for their events.
Yeah.
It's a real important part of this. Real simple. And most departments screw it up beyond belief.
Yep. Or they're so complacent in what is that they don't realize that,
Right.
there is other things. So talking about the future of the podcast, right? So I'm going to it it is my goal in the next I'm going to say in the next month, you're going to see a website out there for this podcast.
Okay.
One of the things that we're going to offer on this website is consulting. And there'll be some we'll Matt and I'll figure this out, and I haven't talked to him about it. I'm blindsiding him, and it's awesome. But we'll figure out some basic, like, we'll come in and evaluate what you got going on for X number of dollars, right? And by when I say come in, we may not physically come there. You may send us a bunch of stuff, and we'll look at it, and we'll give you kind of an idea and a rough idea what we can help you with. And we're going to look at like SOPs, SOGs, bylaws, organizational documents, what your training schedules are, how you do this, what your ISO is, what can we actually add to the party.
Right.
And the goal is to give access to those, and there is going to be a fee for this. Like, this stuff takes time, which takes money, right? I will assure you that it won't be cost prohibitive. We'll make it to where it's value. There is enough value in it. Like that assessments, there's enough value in it that if you don't want to continue down the road and you just want to take that assessment and try it on your own, there's enough value in it, right? But we'll work on this. This is something Matt and I are going to work on over the next month. We're going to get this in place. We're going to make it accessible to get the It Tastes Like Burning consulting group. And we may tell you that the best person for you is this other guy. And we're going to lead you to that consultant, right? We're going to make this work. Because you're only getting the top surface in this podcast.
Right.
You're only getting the skimmed over the top idea of what needs to be done. We can dive way deeper in this stuff. Like, we can get you the lesson plans for your training for the next year. That's an option.
Yeah, or we can tell you how to actually interpret an ISO report.
Right, which is a huge thing, right? We can tell you who's the best guy to call to get your consulting for ISO, or we can tell you, hey, we can handle that.
Right. Or we can also tell you, like, what to look for in instructors.
Right,
And there's nothing wrong with bringing in a external source for training.
right. Yeah, it's all doable, and it's all knowledge that I've spent more than 2 decades building this knowledge, right? Matt spent close to 2 decades building this knowledge. This is knowledge that we have, but the reality is that we spend so much time talking to people for free that it becomes inhibitive to us. Like we need to break free from the inhibitions of spending hours and days dealing with your issue. We need to make it to where it's okay for us to spend hours and days dealing with your issue and our issues,
Right.
right? So it's not just this throwaway throwaway money game, right? We want to be a resource. Uh, there's a good chance that our resource is probably the only resource like it in the country,
As far as I know.
far as we know, right? Uh, and we want to make that available, but it can't be available. The podcast is just not the end all be all of the resource. The resource is going to be more time, more investment.
Right. Well, and I mean, so you're looking at doing an ESD. Believe it or not, we have quite a bit of insight on that. I can already tell you what the ins and outs are of that and what the single most important factor is. Hell, I'll even give it to you now. It's the board. Don't screw that up.
Yeah. You want to create a recognized training program. We can help you with that,
Now,
right?
avenues for generating that.
Essentially in Texas, I would say we're the gold standard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
Like it's not understand that the questions we get asked and what we get approached on, and Matt gets way more of it than I do just by the nature of his career path, right? The questions we get asked and the things we get involved in the discussions are yeah, that was awesome. Uh well, moving on. The questions that get brought to us about things are are way more deep than it can be explained in a little simple podcast that's an hour or 2 hours long.
right.
That it takes research, it takes time, it takes investment into looking at what you actually have and how we can make that benefit you the most, right? And I don't know that we have 100% of the answers. We don't. No, we definitely don't have 100% of the answers. But we have some knowledge that can be adapted to probably 100% of the situations.
Unfortunately,
Yeah. So look for that. We'll be getting that website fired up. We'll be getting that in the description of the podcast notes. The premise is that we've been doing this. We're going on 3 years right now, right? March is 3 years. March 26th, because we started this on my daughter's birthday. So I know when that is, oddly enough.
I can remember the first quarter.
Yeah. So we started this almost 3 years ago, and the amount of impact it's had on departments all over the nation and all over the globe, I would assume. Like, we don't get a lot of feedback from the Germans and the Australians, but
We're still looking to take a trip.
they're listening consistently, and we know that, right? So if they're listening consistently, there must be something there,
Theoretically.
So it's right for us to kind of move on to the next level of this stuff. We appreciate all the support, all the patrons. We all that stuff's awesome, but it's time to open the doors for new things.
Yes. Yes. 100%. I will add this that if anyone from Germany is requesting a visit,
Ireland,
Ireland,
yeah,
Scotland,
yeah, they're all in the listener list.
there's some crazy bastard in Australia.
There's a handful of them, actually.
I'd be interested in just contact us, damn it. We need a reason to come to see you.
Yeah. Yeah. It's not that hard. It's not that complicated. And it's doable by everybody. It's just convincing yourself that you can do it.
Well, and at the end of the day,
Having a plan.
it's planning and realizing that the classic status quo isn't the answer. Be brave. Do something different.
What's the worst case scenario? You go back to doing what you were doing before?
Right.
Right? So look at that. If you're interested in that, drop us a line. Hit us up on the old email there at ittasteslikeburningcast@gmail.com. We'll figure it out before the website's up. Like, we can make that happen. It's not that big a deal. Like, and if you're one of those departments that I know you're listening because you're listening and you've already reached out to us, don't worry. We're still going to take care of you.
Yeah. Period.
Period. Like, that commitment's there. Like, we're 100% on board on taking care of you. It's not about making a dollar as much as it's just offsetting the expense of it all, right?
Right.
Yeah. So Alpine, you're safe.
Yeah.
Robinson,
Valley
Valley
View.
View, you're safe. You're good. We've already committed to helping you.
Right.
Like that. Yeah, it's fine. We don't care. But we need to figure this out and get this set up in a more organized manner.
Yes. That's the new year. The grand plans. So we're expecting someone from Austria, Germany, Scotland, Ireland, or
France.
whoever has good beer.
France doesn't have beer; they got wine. But there's
They have
the
brandy
Australians. They got the Fosters
and snakes,
and snakes and poisonous
spiders,
mammals. But even down in South America, we have, like, there is not a continent on this globe we don't have listeners in.
or that we don't want to travel to.
Yeah.
Because that'd be awesome. It'd be weird using Google Translate, so maybe get that
Yeah,
scheduled.
get that ironed out. Find your translator. Don't rely on us for that, because it's tough to transplant hillbilly to Mandarin.
Right.
Like that's hard.
Or Vietnamese.
Or Indonesian or
Israeli.
no, yeah, no, Israelis. There's a ton of listeners in Israel.
Makes no sense.
They've slowed down here lately. I think they're preoccupied with, like wars and whatever.
They might be busy.
Might be busy, but
Australia, you're not busy, and we don't need a translator.
Yeah. Yeah, we know what a see you next Tuesday is.
How long are we into this?
hour-ish.
Well, I think that's a good stopping point.
Yeah, no, I think it's a great stopping point, and I think it's a good wrap up for the year. You know, we've it's been this whirlwind year anyway. We've done so many cool, crazy things. We've gotten to go to conferences and speak and do stuff, and those doors are wide open, and we're doing more of that. And it's insane. Like, it's insane what doors this has opened for us, and what ability it's given us to have new ideas and expand upon what we already knew was going to be a plan of attack.
Speaking of conferences, we don't mind speaking at conferences, but most of your state conferences, they have a sign up list. And like, don't be afraid to ask for that.
Or send it to us.
Yeah.
Send it to us. And I tell you what we did in Louisiana was a blast. Like, as far as just the fun factor of it, just sitting in the exhibit hall with the microphones and having like actual conversations with people that are out here doing this every day and learning about their organizations and what they're doing, and not interjecting as much as giving them a platform to tell the great things they're doing
Right.
was so awesome. Like, we met so many good friends and so many good people in Louisiana, and we'd like to do that in your state, Kentucky, Ohio. We don't care. Uh, Unfortunately for NVFC, theirs falls exactly on Texas's.
Yeah.
So I I can't help you on that unless you want to like remote us in or do some airfare, or I we missed the deadline. Sorry. I can't be in two places at once. I'm pretty good at multitasking, but multi-locationing, I haven't quite nailed that down yet.
That one's difficult.
A little bit harder, right? And unfortunately, it's not something that you can sublet to somebody else. Like, we are the guys.
Right.
So, but anyway, yeah. If you want to, how can they get us, Matt?
You can always find us at ittasteslikeburningcast at gmail.com. If you feel like supporting us, jump on Patreon and search for the It Tastes Like Burning cast. Always find us on YouTube at It Tastes Like Burning. I do recommend adding the cast to that. And don't ever be afraid to like, click, and subscribe.
Yeah.
With that, this is Matt.
This is Jesse.
Have a good evening.